So we're going to start from 50-50 on how to break the leg once we catch the heel. We'll do a separate video on saddle and a separate video on backside 50-50. So whichever grip I have, yeah, I'm just going to get the standard grip here because it's the least tight one, and I can kind of like show you guys the range of motion a little bit more without injuring Solon or anything. So there's a bunch of things going on here, right? There's a lot of details, but once you get it down, it'll feel very natural. So we need to think about how I explained before, isolating all movement from the thigh, the upper thigh, right? So my top leg is doing that. From 50-50, the top leg, the inside leg, is the one isolating the movement. And we need to think about it like a wedge pressing down on his thigh. So, pardon me, when I'm breaking the leg, I want to think about pressing my knee and my foot down into the mat, yeah? We'll be able to use our other foot to help us do that later on, but just think about that to begin with, okay? The next thing I want is a bend in the leg, yeah? So I want to use my hip motion up, lift my hips off the ground here to create a bend in the leg. And you see how I'm foot to foot, so I'm pressing my knee and my foot down into the mat, taking all the movement out of his thigh, and my hip lifting up is bending his leg and bringing his knee into space. And I'll still be, like, I'll have a grip on the heel when I do that, obviously, which will cause the break. So the next step, boom, here, collapsing. I want to get onto my shoulder here, because that's going to allow me to bring my hips up. I'm going to take my legs away so that I can just do this without hurting Solon. So coming down to your shoulder is going to allow you to get those hips up into the sky like we just had them here. And that's when we're going to start to apply hip pressure through the side of the knee, and then eventually we would apply torque pressure back here, pulling the heel with us. We don't want to start applying torque first and then applying hip pressure, because it turns into more of a knee bar here. So I just pull that kneecap onto the top of my hip and then hip in. He'll tap eventually, but it's not as painful, and the injury isn't as catastrophic. So we want to apply hip pressure first. So I'm going foot to foot, pressing my knee and my foot and my whole shin down into the mat through his thigh. I'm lifting my hips off the ground by going down to my shoulder to bend his leg and bring it into space so we can start to drive our hips through it. I'm gripping, pulling everything tight, and then putting pressure through the side of his knee. Yeah, so we can do that Craig Jones drill. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah. Once again. Boom. Catch, collapse, come down. Pressing my knee and my foot into the mat. I can't express how important that is. I come down to my shoulder and lift my hips off the mat and begin to drive through. And let go. Boom. Finish my hip pressure. And that's how you break the leg from 50-50.